Okay, let's see if how much I can remember with my very short memory. How much can you remember about Freedom and that area?
Everything. What do you want to know?
Well-
What about some significant events that happened? Anything happen out there that you still remember?
Yeah, when we got to go inside to the potty instead of going out to the two-holer.
So when did that happen?
Well, we got introduced to the two-holer out at Grandma and Grandpa Riley's in Freedom, or Ferry, actually, and got introduced to the cistern. Was it
Yeah.
you that used to go down the cistern and get the watermelons?
Yep.
We'd let
They'd
Dale,
lower me in a bucket
and I remember Mom always saying she was the boy of the family, so she did. That's why she liked farming. She was out there with Grandpa, and the other girls were inside with Grandma all the time. And so I remember that. I can remember as a little girl taking trips into Freedom with Grandma and Grandpa in the Model T.
yeah.
And Grandma would give me a little bit of money to spend, very little, and I can remember buying these little tiny celluloid dolls they had at that time, and then we'd go home and Grandma would make little clothes for me.
What'd they give me? I don't remember.
I don't
getting
know
anything.
whether. I don't think they
What
ever
was-
had us both at the same time out there by
I
ourselves.
don't remember any of that.
I think Grandma is one of these that says, "I'll take one at a time."
Dad and Grandpa carrying their shotguns. Did you ever hunt with Granddad? Dad?
No, but I watched Dad and Granddad fire that weapon and broke the porch down. And
Oh, tell me about that. What happened?
well, they had that gun I have in there now, and they primed it up, and of course they didn't have the old powder. They just used what we got, you know. They strapped it to the porch post and got
Were they
back.
afraid to do it themselves?
Yeah, got back, and Dad pulled the trigger, and it fired all right, but it blew the post off front of the porch, and it collapsed.
What did anybody get hurt?
No, nobody got hurt.
No
Except
fire or
it broke the
anything.
handle on the gun.
Which you've never been able to fully replace, right?
I don't think I remember the house as it was at first with just the 2 rooms. Because when I remember it, it had 3 rooms.
Well, it had 2 rooms and then the kitchen.
The kitchen and then a little tiny screened-in porch
Yeah.
that they added. I
That's
think
all I
Dad
re-
helped add that.
That's all I remember.
And you stepped up. I remember you went in that screened-in porch, and you went on into the kitchen, and then to go to the living room, you had a little step up. And I can remember seeing Grandpa sitting there with his earphones
On the Super Heterodyne.
on his what? What'd you call it?
Oh, it was the first radios, you know, where you could.
And he loved it because he was there a lot, as I remember. He was there a lot.
What do you remember about that place out there, Dale? What event was significant to you?
Well, the event, it wasn't the place, it was the trip out and the trip back.
What about that? How did that
I
go?
enjoyed that.
What were you driving? What was Dad driving?
Old Dodge, I think. But the exciting thing was that we never stayed in the same lane all the time. We wandered around and had to make sudden moves when other cars were coming. That's.
How did you guys get along riding? Did you
Oh, I don't even remember that. I
remember
don't.
that far
I
back?
can't remember fighting in the car like kids do today, but then we probably didn't. We didn't have much to do with one another when we were. The only time we had anything to do with each other was when Dale wanted to pick on me. And that was most of the time.
Did you pick on her, Dad?
Well, I'm just trying to teach her how life was going to be, and didn't want her to have a shock. So our neighbors' boys and I would,
Who were they?
the Johnsons,
Norval and Monty.
Norval and Monty, and we'd give Kay a lesson about once a week.
What were some of the lessons you gave her?
Well, burning her hands on something. I can't remember. Sticking her hands in a. Oh, what was that? We painted your face.
They were going to have,
We're going to have a circus.
minstrel
Yeah,
show.
minstrels.
And I was going to be the black person.
Put her up on a set her up
And
on the wall and started painting her with creosote.
Of course, I was so stupid I'd do anything with stupid guys to get to be able to be involved. So they elected me to be the black person that got out the what?
Creosote.
Creosote. And painted me as a black person.
Well, but look what that we did you a favor, because what that did was kind of scale off all the bad things on you, and you have a wonderful skin, you know.
Well, it was the turpentine that did that.
You mean
Well,
the turpentine
turpentine.
to take it off?
Because Dad had bathed me in turpentine to get the black stuff off.
What did Dad and Mom say about the creosote on her face?
Well,
I can't remember now. What did
Dad
you get
didn't-
for that?
well, he hardly ever swore, but he did that time.
Did he?
What did he say?
Son of a bitch.
Well, what did he say to me? You poor little thing.
No, he just said.
Or the Johnson
he
boys
came
said-
out. He came out and grabbed her off of the wall and son of a bitch and walked
What do you
in the
mean,
house
off
with
the
her.
wall? What was she doing?
Well,
up
she was sitting on this wall,
So they could paint me.
and so we could put her in the show. And
Of course, I was going to be the only one black.
well, not necessarily. But we wanted to try it out on you first.
I would like to have seen you.
And shortly after that's when we weren't allowed to talk to the Johnsons anymore.
Yeah, I
And
know.
so we'd stand across the street from each other and make bad phrases.
was this on?
Locust
on
Street
Locust
in
Street.
Alva.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was some of the bad time. I remember you building the tree house, or
That's
whoever to help. Dad helped you. I'm
Dad
sure.
helped.
And I could remember that they wouldn't let me up in the tree house.
Wouldn't let Kay up there.
And so another one of my see how stupid I was to be able to get up in that tree house. I would have done anything. So they finally let me up the tree house, and they hung me from a limb. So my feet just barely touched the treehouse bottom.
Well, what were you supposed to be? I can't remember.
I'm not sure. I think you were Tarzan and I was I don't know.
She Jane.
I remember I screamed a lot, and Mother came out, and I thought I was going to die. I thought you were killing me.
Oh, that was the time that Dad made me whip him after with the razor strap on his
What
back.
was that? Tell that story about Dad making.
Well, I think that's when he made me do it after.
After you creosote her, or what?
Yeah, he took me
No,
in.
is it the creosote or is it the
It was
treehouse?
creosote.
Oh, it was the black. And
Yeah.
he tried to make you whip him
He made me whip him on his bare back.
Did you?
with
I hit him, but of course he was one of those guys you just pinch a little and he turned red.
How'd you feel about it when he turned red?
Well, he got my attention.
Well, I mean, did you cry or?
Yeah, I think I did.
Say, there you are. Good lesson on how to raise kids. You know.
There you go.
He just said it,
meant a
Dale,
lot.
I don't know what I'm going to do with you. It must be my fault. So I want you to whip me.
The razor strap always hung
You
on
haven't
that,
used that on any of your kids, have you?
but it's not a
Well,
bad idea.
Yeah.
But you
Because
told
it
the
meant-
story to him.
It meant a lot more as far as punishment than whipping the kid.